What does this apple, this cheese stick, this chicken breast, and this dog all have in common? No, they're not all edible. I can't believe you would think that. Jeez. No. What I'm trying to say is that they all contain calories. If you are a living being existing on planet Earth, chances are your body runs on energy. Unless you photosynthesize energy from the sun, you probably get that energy from food. This energy is measured in units called calories. Just like you can measure distance in meters, you can measure energy in calories. And I think the best way to get a grasp on the different energy contents in the foods that you eat is to track the foods that you eat and evaluate the energy contents in them. And the best way to do this is using a handy little app called MyFitnessPal. And if you're like most people, you've probably already downloaded this app. And if you're like most people, you've probably already deleted this app after it took you nearly 4 hours to log your breakfast cereal. And that's why in this video, I will be breaking down my top 10 tips for tracking your calories more effectively and more efficiently in MyFitnessPal. Get ready to track faster, easier, and even more accurately with these 10 simple tips. Along the way, I'll even walk you through some real-world examples of how I like to track my meals so that you can see exactly how the magic happens. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Tip 1. Set your own macro targets. Do not let MyFitnessPal tell you how many calories you should be eating. For being the industry standard calorie tracking app, they are an impressively bad calorie setting app. When you get the app, they're gonna ask you for your age, weight, gender, occupation, and so on. And then they're gonna spit out some generic calorie and macro recommendations based on your responses that I usually find to be pretty low for most people. Usually find to be a little bit low in protein, which y'all know how I feel about protein. And it's generally just an unsustainable long-term calorie and macro goal, from my opinion. MyFitnessPal, good diet tool, bad dietitian. Just totally ignore them and enter in your own calorie and macronutrient targets. First, go watch my video on setting your calorie goal and then come back here. Now you can open up your MyFitnessPal app, go to more in the bottom right, then click goals, then click calories, carbs, protein, and fat goals. That'll be under the subheading nutrition goals. And you'll notice that your interface is gonna look a little bit different than mine, and that is because I'm using MyFitnessPal Premium. Yes, I am spoiled and I paid a little bit extra for MyFitnessPal Premium, but for a couple different reasons, I think it's really worth it. And if you're interested in knowing what the difference between premium and standard is, let me know in the comments below, because I could ramble on about it for a while, but I'm not sure if it's something that you're really interested in. In short, I think that a lot of the premium content is completely useless, but some of it is pure gold. You know, kind of like how you don't watch every single show on Netflix, but the small fee is definitely worth it for the ones you really enjoy. Anyway, in that calories, carbs, protein, and fat menu, you can set your own macro targets that meet your calorie needs. And again, I get to set these goals in grams because I'm premium, but you know, you common folks, you have to set in percentages. For most people, this equates to about 25% of calories from fat, roughly 1 gram of fat for every 3 pounds of body mass, about 25% of calories from protein, roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, and the rest of calories going to carbohydrates. Yeah. And then you want to go back and enable show carbs, protein, and fat by meal. And then as you're tracking throughout the day, you want to look at those targets and hit the fat and protein as minimums. You want to be having at least this much fat and protein every day. And then you want to look at the carbohydrate as more of a maximum, or you can just totally ignore it, because as long as your fats and proteins are in check and you eat within your desired calorie range, your carbohydrates are also gonna be in check. Unless of course you're getting a ton of calories from the fourth macronutrient, alcohol, which you probably shouldn't be getting a ton of calories from on a daily basis the last time I checked. Boom. Tip 2, turn off step adjustments. So, MyFitnessPal thinks that you should be eating back the calories that you burn. MyFitnessPal, good diet tool, bad dietitian. While we're in the goals menu, go down to exercise calories and switch those off. And if you don't have premium, you may have to go into the steps menu and click don't track steps. Boom, simple. Onward. Tip 3, use the search bar for whole food ingredients and chain restaurants. 90% of the time when you're using MyFitnessPal, you'll be in the diary tab. Just like how my channel is the most important channel on YouTube, the diary tab is the most important tab in MyFitnessPal. Select your diary tab at the bottom of the screen, go to the meal you're eating and click Add Food. When you add a food item without a label, simply use the search bar. Say an apple, for example. Look for that green check mark. Green means certified, green means go. The same is true for popular food items like Pop-Tarts, and you can even find chain restaurants like Chipotle who conveniently have their entire menu displayed so you can build out your own burrito and get a rough estimate that's actually certified by the restaurant. And please remember that most restaurants are actually underreporting their calories so that you can feel a little bit better about eating their foods, so take that into consideration whenever you're tracking food from a restaurant. What I like to do is when a restaurant's estimate seems a bit low, I'll just click the plus sign in the corner and quick add some calories and macros based on my best judgment. After years of obsessively, diligently tracking food and macros and quantities, I feel pretty comfortable doing this, and you probably will too. And I'm just kidding here. The mere act of counting calories does not mean that you are obsessed with nutrition. Just like the mere act of looking at your speedometer or your fuel gauge does not mean you are obsessed with the gas in your car. It's just having a grasp on it is pretty comforting sometimes. You're not gonna always be looking at your speedometer or your gas gauge, but it's comfortable to know that you can assess it accurately and know generally where you are from a fuel standpoint. Tip 4, scan barcodes. And I know I shouldn't have to explain this in a video about MyFitnessPal, but some people still don't do it. If your food item has a barcode on the packaging, simply scan that shit. Before entering it into your diary, however, I do recommend just double checking the nutrition on the package with the nutrition in the app, because sometimes there is a little bit of a difference. So check the calories, the macros, and the serving size. If all checks out, you're good to go. And if not, you might need to add the food item in by yourself. And you can do this by clicking the plus sign in the top corner and entering in the correct nutrition information for you and thousands of other mindful eaters to enjoy worldwide. Then go back to the incorrectly listed food item and report it to the MyFitnessPal overlords, who will use their mighty wrath to rain fire upon whomever incorrectly entered that food item into their precious system. Alright, that's not going to happen, but at least you'll have a more accurate food log. Tip 5, outsource to websites like Calorie King for untrackable food items. Your grandma made lasagna. Your fiance surprised you with some sushi. Your coworkers are grabbing a slice at a local pizza joint. Don't panic. You're gonna be fine. Sure, there's no barcode on grandma's lasagna. Yep, every sushi option in MyFitnessPal is insanely different. And you betcha, Joe's Pizza Shop bakes different fresh pies daily based on what's in season, and there's no way they could possibly track the calories accurately. And that's okay. You don't have to be 100% accurate all of the time, but you can still get pretty darn close. Perfection is the enemy of good enough. You're not going to be perfect all of the time, but don't let that stop you from doing your best. This isn't an all or nothing game. And that's why I recommend people eat along the 80-20 guideline, which basically means that 80% of the time you diligently track meals that you prepare yourself, and then 20% of the time you get to loosely track the meals that are a little more fun, a little more unpredictable. So when these unpredictable meals happen, just head over to CalorieKing.com and search for any food item that you've recently eaten or plan to eat that you know you can't reliably track in MyFitnessPal. Here, you can get an average calorie count for nearly any food item. Then you will take these calories and macros and add them to your food diary as a quick add option by clicking the plus sign in the top right corner of the add food menu. Crisis averted. Calm down. Tip 6, get a food scale and measure everything in grams. If you are tracking your food by using measuring cups, you need to be stopped. That is a crime, a sincere waste of your precious human time. And don't get mad. I'm just looking out for you. Not only is a food scale faster for tracking, it's also 1 million times more accurate. Certified. That's right, 1 million times. I checked. When you want to add a food, say a cooked chicken breast, don't just select any old chicken breast from the search bar and assume that every chicken breast weighs the same. Bonus tip, if you're tracking meats, make sure that you notate whether you're tracking the raw or cooked version of the meat, because the raw meat will always weigh more, and it's generally more accurate to track the raw meat. Though, if you're meal prepping a lot like I do, I just make sure that I'm finding a reliable cooked version of chicken to track in MyFitnessPal, and if you don't know where to find a reliable calorie count of cooked chicken, chicken, you know where to look. Yep, we already covered this, CalorieKing.com. So find a version of the meat that you trust and then weigh your chicken breast and log the grams. You'll have to change the serving size in your app to 1 gram servings and then adjust the servings based on how many grams of chicken you eat. You can even do the same thing with your Magic Spoon cereal after using my promo code Barron at checkout for free shipping. So instead of always having to measure out a perfect serving of cereal, you can change the serving size to 1 gram, weigh out your cereal, and log whatever amount of grams you actually eat. Using a scale is easier and more accurate than using measuring cups. Tip 7. Weigh the deficits. All right, I have a new 30-day challenge for you. Go get a piece of bread and try to put a perfect 28-gram serving of peanut butter on it, and I will be here in 30 days when you're done. Instead of weighing what you put on your plate, weigh what you take out of jars and containers. Any half-decent food scale will allow you to weigh the deficits, meaning the quantity of food that you take out of a container. When I'm making my classic banana pancakes, for example, I'm using a lot of different ingredients. I mean, several different flours. But I'm not putting the mixing bowl on the scale and zeroing in and then weighing every little scoop of flour that I put in there, just hoping to get exactly 10 grams of each, and it's getting messy and I'm getting tons of measuring cups dirty and it's just chaotic. I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm putting the flours on the scale and zeroing those in, and I'm measuring what I take out of the containers. I'm just scooping 10 grams out of the bag and moving on. I'm cooking my pancakes, I'm eating my pancakes, and I'm loving my life. And I'm totally aware of the calories and macros, including the calories and macros of the Greek yogurt that I topped it with, because I put the tub of yogurt on the scale and measured the yogurt deficit. And I did the same thing when measuring the blueberries. Food is good, so is life, and mindful eating does not suck. If you can learn to measure your food deficits just like you measure your calorie deficits, you're gonna be on track for success with this stuff. Calorie counting doesn't work right when you don't work right at counting calories. So just getting a food scale, measuring in grams, and weighing the deficits is going to be a game changer for accuracy. Tip 8. Create meals and recipes. Most people could benefit from a little more consistency in their daily diet. If you can get yourself to the point where you're eating a similar handful of different meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then you're in a pretty good place. Your diet will become easier to stick to in the long run, and your results will become way more predictable. Less floating variables equals more control. So once you gain dietary consistency, it's time to stop tracking each individual ingredient and to start making meals. For example, I make a lot of banana pancakes and egg drop oatmeal for my breakfast. I have a lot of wraps and sandwiches for my lunch, and I'm always snacking on DIY Nutella, smoothies, and anabolic French toasts. Hashtag Coach Greg. That's why I've gone ahead and created all of these options as meals in MyFitnessPal by clicking the plus sign in the top corner of the add menu and clicking create a meal. Now, whenever I eat another basic sandwich for lunch, I can just click the basic sandwich and adjust it as necessary without searching for all the different ingredients from scratch. If I used a little less chicken and a little more mustard, that's fine. I have the option to change things in the diary tab. I like to use meals for things that are always in rotation in my diet, because I can add the meal to my log and then adjust the individual ingredients if necessary. However, I like to use recipes for things that come and go from my diet, specifically things that include multiple ingredients that get homogenized into one big mixture that I can't change. Recipes are great for things like a big batch of chili that you'll be eating servings of for the next 2 weeks, but after that, it's gonna disappear. Right now, I've only got 2 recipes in my arsenal. I've got some venison-based taco meat in my refrigerator, and I've got a big blend of old protein powders that I've been adding to in my pantry. I'm kind of crazy, but when there's only a couple scoops of a protein powder left, I'll throw it into this big jar of mixed protein powders that I have, and I have some crazy calculations going on so that I can measure what exactly is in this giant tub of protein, but between you and me, it's just a wild party of protein in there. When the mixed jar of protein is gone, when the taco meat is gone, I'll just delete the recipes from the app and move on with my life. Tip 9. Tweak other settings like food history, meal names, timestamps, etc. First off, you can save a ton of time when tracking food that you often eat by relying on the history feature of MyFitnessPal. When you click Add Food, start by looking under the search bar. Here, you'll find your most recent food item history, but it can also be helpful to sort by most frequent or to filter for each individual meal. I like filtering for each individual meal because my meal 1s often look a lot different than my meal 3s. The only option I'd really avoid in this menu is sorting from A to Z, unless you're the kind of person that eats a lot of apples, asparagus, and artichokes. Now let's go to the More tab, and then Settings, and then Diary Settings. Most people will want to show carbs, protein, and fat by meal. I also recommend turning off food timestamps because that's just a little too much to worry about for most people. And then I also like to customize my meal names so that instead of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I have meal numbers, and then a snack area at the bottom to add snacks to throughout the day. And then if you're premium, you can customize the nutrient dashboard to be macronutrient focused rather than calorie focused. Personally, I like budgeting for macros rather than calories, but that's just me. You don't have to do it like me. You can do it however you want to do it. And while you're in the settings, go ahead and play around with the other options. Try things out. You don't have to play by the default rules of the app. You can kind of mold this thing to better fit your goals and lifestyle. If you just take an extra 5 to 10 minutes setting up the app the way that it'll work for you, you can save yourself a ton of time in the long run, so don't skip out on this initial time investment. Tip 10. Utilize downtime while cooking to track before you begin eating. So a lot of cooking involves taking action and then waiting. While you wait on the microwave or the boiling water or the air fryer, you can get to tracking. And quick side note, do you guys use air fryers? My fiance and I just got our first air fryer for Christmas and it is awesome. Fried pickles, man. What do you make in your air fryer? Let me know in the comments below, we are seriously interested. Anyway, utilize those little pockets of downtime that arise in the cooking process. Track what you're cooking while you're cooking it. While you're eating your food, you should be focused on the food. You should be chewing it and enjoying the sensation of eating. You shouldn't be staring at your phone wondering how many grams of chicken you just plated. You should get all that done before you eat so that you can relax and enjoy yourself. Get the tracking done ahead of time and set your phone down, face down, before diving into your meal. And if you don't finish everything on your plate, you can always just go back and subtract from what you've already logged. Either way, if you find yourself spending the bulk of your eating time staring at your phone and tracking what you're currently eating, you're not going to enjoy it. You gotta be present while you eat. The real point of flexible dieting and tracking your calories is so that you can enjoy your food more while knowing that you're still on track to achieve your goals. Tracking should take some stress out of eating, not put extra stress into it. If you find yourself getting crazy stressed out about tracking your calories, you might need to reassess your relationship with food, because maybe MyFitnessPal is not for you. That's okay. I just want you to consider the root cause. Why are you getting so stressed out about a silly little app and a silly little unit of measurement? Calories are just that, a unit of measurement. They help us measure the flow of energy between us and our environments. And I think that flow of energy is a pretty damn magical thing. And I think the ability to use MyFitnessPal to track that flow of energy is also a pretty damn magical thing. I mean, technology is cool. So if you also use MyFitnessPal and if you found this video helpful at all, I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to the channel. And this is the kind of video that I wish I had seen when I first downloaded MyFitnessPal. So if you get the kind of value out of it that I would have gotten out of it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.